Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. For the new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. For the viewers, thank you for clicking this video. So in today's video guys, we are going to be breaking down how to increase your win rate using pivot points. Right now guys, I'm sure you guys have been trying to figure out how to increase your win rates. You've been learning SMC, ICT and things like that, fair value gap. And guys, let me just tell you the truth, right? This is going to be the easiest way to increase your win rate in terms of knowing what the trend is and when a trend reversal happens. Right now, pivot points essentially, right, are what we use to know what the trend is and when a trend reversal happens, right? And essentially, in case of a buy trend, the pivot point is going to be the lows right here, right? So something like this, right? And then in case of a downtrend, the pivot points are going to be the highs, so things like this, right? Now when it comes to figuring out what a low is and what a high is, this is going to be the tricky part, right? So in terms of figuring out what a low is, guys, it's very simple. We determine a low, right, with at least two candles, right? So two sell candles. So in the case of an uptrend here, we determine a low with at least two sell candles, right? So in terms of things like this, as you can see, this is a low here, right? Because it has at least two sell candles, right? And then let me break this down also. Same thing here, right? So in terms of determining what this area is, this place has to have at least two sell candles. Now you might ask yourself, okay, what does this line, this red, green, white line mean? Well, it's basically what the strategy that I use called the ICC concept, right? So the white line basically means indication, right? So price giving us a direction to where it wants to go, or indicating on a direction of where it wants to go. And then the red line means correction, right? So basically a retest, as you can see. And then when price retests that area we're waiting for, we now look for the continuation, which is the green line, and then we look for our entry, and then we take the trade. So basically it repeats itself, as you can see, right? So in this case here, what we were explaining previously, right, as you can see, is going to be the indication, correction, continuation, right? So indication, correction, continuation, indication, correction, continuation, right, and so on, right? So and then we take our trades from the start of the continuation move, right? So in terms of, like I said, determining what the low or what the high is, like I told you guys, it has at least two solid candles, right? So in this case here, this would be the lows, and as you can see in this particular specific case here, this was the previous low. And like I told you guys, we use pivot points to determine what a reversal is, right? So when we see things like this where price is buying up and then we are trying to look for a reversal, we essentially wait for price to break and close below the previous low. Once it breaks and closes below the previous low, guys, then that is a sign of a reversal, right? So let me give you much more examples here. So in this case here, this is going to be a naked chart here, and as you can see on the left hand side, this is going to be the breakdown. So in this case here, this cannot be considered a low because it has only one sell candle, right? So this cannot be considered a low because it has only one sell candle, right? But this can be considered a low, right, because it has at least two buy candles here. Now let me break this some examples down here, right? Because sometimes, guys, you might actually confuse yourself, right? So in this case here, in terms of a reversal, right, when it comes to determining a low, right, a low has to be added with a high, right? So what I mean by this is, for us to determine that this is a low, for us to determine that this is a low, right, this low must have created a high. So until this low creates a high, then this cannot be considered a low, right? Because like I told you guys, a reversal happens when the previous low breaks, right? So in this case here, price technically broke a low here, right? Because like you said, it has two solid sell candles, but this low did not create a high, right? So this cannot be considered the low. So until this low here creates a high, which is this high, breaks above this high here, then this will not be considered the low, right? So in this case here, price now finally broke and closed above this high, which makes this the low, right? Like I told you guys, a low must have at least two solid sell candles. And then in terms of, let's say in a bearish structure where price is selling, then we're going to be looking for a reversal. So in this case here, I will break this down real quick. So I'm actually in this trade currently, right? So basically what happened here was price was, bearish, right? And then this was the previous high that price needed to break, right, for price to say it is bullish, right? So again, let me pull out this diagram real quick, and then zoom in, boom, right? So in this case here, price was on a downtrend, right? Price was on a downtrend. And then for a reversal to happen, right, price needed to break and close, right, above the previous high. So in this case here, we determine a high based on at least 2 solid buy candles, right? It can be any buy candles, right? In this case here, this cannot be considered the high, right? Because it has only 1 buy candle. So in this case here, price, broke and closed above this previous high, indicating that price has switched from a downtrend to an uptrend, right? So something like this, and then we wait for the retest. We take our entry right here, and then we now ride the move. So in this case here, price gave us a high, retested. So this is going to be the correction, and then price now gave us an entry, which is the bearish, or I would call this the bullish engulfing, right? And then as you can see, price is now currently buying. And then in terms of this entry here, I can break this entry in a different video, but essentially guys, my entry came from price, going above this high right here. Boom, this high right here, right, as you can see. And then stop loss is literally above this candlestick wick right there. That's basically how I found my entry, but I can explain this in a different video. But essentially guys, the original entry would be here, right, because of this bullish engulfing, and then stop loss would be literally right there, and then TP be a 1 to 2 risk to reward, which is going to be right there. So it looks like price wants to all the way reverse, to the upside, but we might actually see price from here give us an entry for a sell or a correction move, right? Because right now price has given us an indication now, and then what happens when price is giving us an indication is going to give us a correction, right? So like I told you guys, price gives us an indication phase and then gives us a correction before continuing the trend. So in this case here, price is currently still in that indication phase. So in terms of knowing when the correction phase is about to happen, it really depends on the candlestick pattern, right? So it might give you like a shooting star here, and then price will now retrace, come to this area of interest, and then buy all the way up here. So something like this, right? Or something like this where price now sells back down here and still maintains this, low, right? So in this case here, right, to end this video, let me show you what price needs to break for us to consider this trend to be changed from buys to sells. So essentially guys, price literally needs to break and close below this low here for the trend to change from buys to sells, right? So right now this cannot be considered the low because it has only 1 sell candle, right? But basically guys, this is what you use pivot points for, guys. Like I told you guys, is used to know what the trend is and how, to know, and when a reversal happens, we can actually go to a separate chart to see an example of this. So I can go to, let's say, Euro NZD, and then this is like a perfect example right here, right? So this is literally like a perfect example. We actually had this markup a while. Okay, that's funny. Okay, but basically guys, as you can see, price was literally bullish, right? So notice something, price was literally bullish from here, right, creating higher highs and higher lows, right? So something like this, right? This is the pivot point because price has at least 2 solid sell candles. It's created a high and then created another low and then created another high here. Now notice what happened. Price then now closed below this previous low here, and then guess what happened? That is the sign for a reversal. And then as you can see, price now retraced, gave a shooting star entry, which is right there, and then you would have placed your trade right there like this, stop loss below that candle, and then TP somewhere here, right? As you can see, you did get stopped out here, but sometimes you can have your stop loss open, right? But that's just what it is. And then maybe TP somewhere around here, right? As you can see, you did get stopped out, but maybe you had your, like your stop loss high enough or whatever. But in this specific scenario here, I would actually still take another sell. Why? Because price is still respecting this high. As you can see, price has not closed above this. So until price closes above this, then we anticipate, you know what I mean, the trend from sells, right, to buys. So it now something like this, and then it now breaks this range, retraces, and then now goes to this daily time frame here. But basically, this is how we use pivot points to increase your win rates, know when the trend is changing, and know what the trend currently is. So if you do want this PDF, guys, you can always click the link at the bottom of this video. You know what I mean? Just send your email and your name, and then you can receive the link. All right, guys, I will see you guys in a different video. Peace.